Hi, and today I'm here with Lora Shapiro, National Account Manager at Tauck. And today we're going to be talking all things Tauck. Tauck is a family owned company that does escorted tours all around the world in many different forms, some of which include river cruising, small ship cruising, land journeys, family journeys. They've also been on Travel and Leisure's world best list for 22 years. So that says a lot about them and what they're about. What I love about Tauck is their philosophy to always do the right thing and deliver more than what's expected. Now I am going to turn it over to you, Laura.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. And thanks for this incredible opportunity to bring this sort of virtual tour around the world to you and your amazing clients and anyone else who has the opportunity and the wanderlust to want to dream about travel right now. I certainly much prefer doing these in person, but considering the current situation, I am happy for this technology and grateful to be able to talk a little bit about Tauck. So I, as Stephanie said, am a national account manager for Tauck on our sales team. I have been with Tauck for 22 years, so I am incredibly blessed and grateful to not only have a job that I love, but to work for one of the best, well-represented companies in the entire travel industry. And it is just my true pleasure to talk to you today about Tauck.
I'm
So
excited.
since, thank you. So
Mm.
since our creation, all the way back in 1925, we have had one mission, and that mission is to inspire and change lives through travel. And it's a pretty lofty goal to say that we can change lives, but we most certainly have had the opportunity to touch millions of lives through our journeys over the past 95 years. This all dates back to really actually June of 1925 when a gentleman by the name of Arthur C. Tauck was a traveling salesman. He had invented the coin tray, the metal tray where you line up the rolls of coins. He invented that tray and was on the road selling it. And it was a pretty lonely job. And he just on a whim ran an ad in the newspaper and said, "Join me, Arthur C. Tauck, on a week-long jaunt through New England." And he loaded 6 people and their luggage into his Studebaker, and off they went. And they drove the back roads of New England. They would stay at inns and bed and breakfasts and eat at local restaurants and visit the local national parks and or visit the local parks and national parks. And he never thought he would do it again. But those 6 people had such a great time that those people told their friends, and their friends asked Arthur to run another trip. And next thing you know, he was running multiple trips, and he applied for the very first tour operator license in the United States of America and became Tauck Motor Tours. So obviously, it's no surprise that we've changed our name to just Tauck now. But we do have one of the longest histories of providing these escorted vacations here in the US. And now we are a global company all across the globe. So just sort of a fun little walk down memory lane. And I will say that this current situation is so poignant because Tauck did operate during World War II. And we did have to close our doors at that time. And in the beginning of all of this, we were sort of making some comparisons to some other pretty significant challenges that our industry has faced in the last 20, 30, 40 years. But it really reached a point where we were in meetings, and Arthur Jr., who's now the chairman of our board, started saying, well, back in World War II, this is what we did. And we offered clients a voucher. And so it's just very interesting to be a company that can really compare what our business model was during World War II to the current situation. So we are just so blessed to be able to have had the ability to impact lives, and we know that we will have the opportunity to impact many, many, many more lives, hopefully for another 95 years. And what Stefany said at the beginning really holds true, and it is that Tauck is a company that you can trust. I know there's probably questions out there about whether or not, companies are going to survive this crisis, and I am here to say that Tauck is. Tauck is a debt-free, financially stable company, and we are so truly honored to have an incredible reputation for doing the right thing, for communicating and being honest about current situations, and really at the end of the day, preserving the experience, because that's what's given us this 95 years and this incredible reputation. So we are very, very dedicated to preserving what we do best, which is giving you that opportunity to travel beyond the ordinary all across the globe. And we look forward to doing that. So some of the
I love
things,
that story.
yeah,
I love that story about Tauck. I was just going to say it's just so fascinating how it started. It's really cool.
it really is. It's a great storied history for sure. So one of the things that you might think of when you hear that we are an escorted tour company is it might conjure up some ideas or some pictures in your head of traveling with large groups, or just living on a motor coach, or traveling, and being herded around. But I will definitely say that is not at all what the Tauck experience is like. These are just a few pictures of some of the ways that you would see the world when traveling with Tauck. Perhaps it could be in kayaks and kayaking down a river in Europe, or traveling around in Italy in a private convertible, float planes in Western Canada, or taking a magnificent float trip down the Snake River in the Grand Tetons. So touring with Tauck, we will always try to use whatever mode of transportation is possible. And yes, we do utilize those motor coaches. That is traditionally what takes you from point A to point B. But once you are in your destination, we try and use every other possible mode of transportation to enhance that experience for you. And so Tauck does have a number of brands and a number of ways that we can show you the world. So that would be through our land products, which include Tauck World Discovery, taking you to places all across Europe and North America, South America, Asia, Africa. And then we have Bridges, which is our family brand, which we'll talk on in a little bit. And then we do some cruising as well, which we will also get into. So some of the reasons why people say that they love traveling with Tauck is our Tauck directors. You might also hear them called tour guides, but they are Tauck directors to us. They are part of our corporation. They are employees of Tauck, and they come with some of the best experience and some of the best knowledge, history, and care and compassion. 9 times out of 10, when I meet someone that travels with us, the tour director, the Tauck director is one of the first things that they talk about. So our guides usually average about 10 years of experience with Tauck, and having been one and having guided our travelers, it is one of the hardest jobs out there, but it is also one of the most gratifying. And our guides absolutely, truly love what they do. Now, personally, I love the Tauck hotels that we use. And these here are domestic hotels, but really across the globe, the hotels that we use are so much more than just a place to sleep. They are destinations in and of themselves. And even the dining when you are traveling with Tauck is virtually all included. So if you are at this magnificent hotel in Hawaii, your dinner is included. You go to any of the restaurants on that property. You just say, I'm with Tauck. You order anything you want off the menu. You sign your name to the bill, and you get up and you walk out. Just don't do it when you come home, because they will come running after you. But you get very spoiled when you're on tour with Tauck, because you hardly ever have to reach into your pocketbook. Everything's included. So it's, all of your sightseeing is included. All of your meals are included.
That's awesome.
So it really does make for a very stress-free and personalized experience. Now, one thing that I think is going to be important to people as travel does resume is the fact that we do have small groups. Now, our small groups max at 24 guests. So it is a maximum of 24 people on these small group journeys. Now, these are our land journeys. We still use the same size motor coach, which carries over 50 people, but it does sort of give you a little bit of space in between those passengers on the motor coach. And then another important thing that I wanted to mention, Stefany, is that with all of our journeys, we do have activity and pace ratings. So every trip is given basically a grade on a scale of 1 to 4, 1 being the easiest, 4 being the most challenging in terms of the activity level, the amount of walking or standing or steps, or even for some of our more active journeys, the hiking. And then from a pace perspective, it sort of gives you an idea of how relaxing is the entire trip, how robust is it. And as an example of something that might be a little bit more robust, we have our Australia-New Zealand journey, which is a 21-day land journey. But not only do you have to fly to Australia and New Zealand, there are 9 flights within the tour itself to take you across those 2 countries. So this should sort of help make their best decision about what way of traveling and what type of traveling is best for you.
So you mentioned Australia and New Zealand. Can you kind of just touch base on what are some of your top destinations?
Yes, absolutely. So we've sort of talked about why Tauck and who Tauck is, but now I want to just touch on some of the places that we can take you to. And I'll start right here in our own backyard in North America, which is, of course, where we got our start. It's what we sort of like to call our bread and butter, and it's our heritage. We're an American company and still family owned after all these years. And I also am always so mesmerized by people that have traveled to every continent, been all around the globe, and they've never seen the Grand Canyon or they've never been to Yosemite. So I think there's going to be an overwhelming desire to travel in our own backyard in the coming years. So the good thing is that Tau can take you to so many places
I
within
agree.
North America. And we can take you all the way from the East Coast out to the West Coast, from New England and seeing the leaves change in the fall, all the way out to doing an entire tour of California. We also cover virtually all of Canada, as you can see from this map, from Prince Edward Island in Nova Scotia, where I used to guide, to the Canadian capitals and doing Ontario and Quebec. And one of my absolute personal favorite places anywhere in the world is the Canadian Rockies. And this is one reason why. Having the opportunity to stay at those magnificent Fairmont hotels like the Banff Springs, the Chateau Lake Louise, as you see here, and even Jasper Park Lodge are some of the most majestic beauty you will see anywhere. So if you haven't thought about the Canadian Rockies and haven't given it any research, I would definitely look into it, because the Canadian Rockies are probably one of the most special places on the planet.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, it is. And all of our guests stay in rooms that have a view of the lake. So you don't want to travel all the way to that property and have your room be over here. You want it to be on the other side with that view that you wake up to every single day.
Exactly.
And the other thing that Tauck is so well known for is the opportunity to get you exclusive access to places that otherwise would warrant tons of crowds or just be very busy. And we want to give you that VIP experience. And we've been doing this for decades. So just one of those examples right here in our own backyard, right in our nation's capital, is Tauck is given exclusive early entrance into the National Archives building in Washington, D.C., so that
Wow.
our guests have the opportunity to see the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, our founding documents, before the building opens to the public, and doing it again without those crowds, which I think is going to be an even more welcome experience moving forward.
Oh yeah. I think that's going to be key, just kind of distancing a little bit and not
Exactly.
being so much in the crowds.
Yes. And so another thing that we are so incredibly grateful for and proud of is our partnership with a gentleman by the name of Ken Burns. And Ken, as some of you probably know, is a storied American filmmaker, documentarian, and he is an expert on all things U.S. history. You could probably learn just as much from watching one of his documentaries as reading multiple books out there. He is just a plethora of information about the people and the places that have shaped America. And we have an exclusive partnership with him so that he will have impact to your journey when traveling in the US, either through videos that he's filmed exclusively just for us at Tauck. In some cases, maybe he's actually helped craft an itinerary and he's helped us formulate the destinations and how we travel to those destinations. And sometimes he himself shows up at some very special events that we're able to host when his schedule permits, but he's a very busy man. So it's a wonderful opportunity to incorporate his storytelling into the stories that we like to tell when our clients are traveling with us. So that's one very special thing on our North American journeys. And just really want to touch on the national parks in general. Again, sort of getting back to the fact that so many of us can often say, you know, I'll wait until I'm a little bit older to travel in our own country, or I'll just go and rent a car, or rent an RV and just drive it myself. But there is something to letting us guide you on this journey. You don't have to worry about the driving, so you don't have to worry about just watching the road. You can look out and see the beauty that makes our national parks what they are, and let someone else do all the work for you and do all the research. We also have the opportunity to give you access that you couldn't get on your own if you were just driving or doing your own vacation. And we will always be staying at those coveted inside the park hotels that often can take a year to 2 years to even get a reservation at. And Tauck always stays inside the national parks when we are on one of our national park journeys.
That's great.
So now, getting beyond just the US and Canada, perhaps on your list is some travel over to Europe. And while we're not traveling there at this very moment, we do look forward to bringing our travelers back to Europe and giving them that immersive European experience that people love so much about traveling in Europe. And so much a part of traveling in Europe is the history and the experiences and the food and the wine, of course. And so we definitely immerse you into the destination, no matter where in Europe you're traveling, be it cooking classes or wine tastings and history lessons and more after hours visits to places like the Sistine Chapel, and being able to go into the Sistine Chapel after hours once it is closed to the public. And this is actually a true picture of a Tauck guest in the Sistine Chapel, and there might not be anybody else but the person taking that picture in that room. So that is definitely almost worth the trip to Italy, just to be able to do that and see Michelangelo's masterpiece without the thousands of other not so close friends of yours in that room.
Yeah, normally you would never see it like that. So that's
Never.
pretty.
No. And then another one of my personal favorite evenings that we've created exclusively for Tauck guests is a private evening in a palace in Vienna. And this is a night in a private palace with a family that has become such dear friends of us at Tauck. And they open up their home, this is their home, to us to grant this magical evening of food and wine and period costumed musicians and dancers, bringing all that Vienna is known for, which is its magical uh, classical music, and having an evening that people say, I would have come for this night alone. It is truly something that you can only get when traveling with Tauck.
Well, and that's what I love, because clients, they're all about that authentic experience. And that's what I find they love and enjoy the most and remember the most on trips. And so I love that you guys do that.
Yeah, it is so much fun seeking out those destinations and finding those incredible partners. And we love working with other family-owned companies as well, and giving you sort of those bragging rights and an opportunity to come home and tell people what you got to do when you were traveling in these places. And
Yeah.
maybe some of those exotic destinations are on your list too. And perhaps you've got, even a 2 to 5 year plan of those bucket list trips that you hope to check off and get to. And we would love to be one of the ones to take you to some of those places like Perhaps the Taj Mahal. I know it is on my list. I had a chance to go there, and I wasn't able to end up doing the trip, but I look forward to hopefully going there. And not only will you get to see the Taj Mahal, but the hotel that we stay in gives you a view of the Taj Mahal from your hotel room. So it is
Wow.
one of the main reasons why people travel to India, and is definitely one of the truest highlights. Or perhaps it's South America and you want to go and see Christ the Redeemer and have the opportunity to experience Rio de Janeiro and all the rest that South America has to offer. Or perhaps an African safari. I will say that in my 22 years, one of my all-time favorite trips I ever did was a trip to South Africa, and my first and only safari that I've done. And I am just waiting until I can go back and especially have that opportunity to get that picture with the meerkats, because I'm just so fascinated by those little creatures, and I hope to have the chance to see them and meet them and interact. So you are definitely meeting the locals in safe environments where we can. You're not going to meet the elephants and the rhinos and the lions like that. But you know, safaris are so much more than just riding around and looking at the animals and the game drives. You know, it really is about understanding the people and the culture and the landscapes. The picture on the right is people driving in ATVs on the salt pans. And after they've enjoyed that fun adventure, we set up a sunset dinner for them right there on the salt pan. So these are definitely truly experiences of a lifetime that have absolutely changed lives. It's really, really fun. And then we have our family brand. So we have Tauck Bridges, which is our brand for multi-generational travel. You know, during this time, you've some maybe been at home with families this entire time, or unfortunately, maybe you haven't been able to see your families and you haven't been able to travel to spend time together. And I think if anything, this current situation has definitely taught us all how precious time is and how precious our families are, and how important it is to share that time together when the time is right. And Tauck Bridges offers over 20 itineraries really across the globe, everywhere from Europe to Africa to the Galapagos and North America. This is a brand that's near and dear to my heart because I guided our cowboy country tour, which was Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons and Mount Rushmore, and truly seeing the look on the kids and the parents and the grandparents' faces when they're seeing some of these iconic places for the first time in their life is something I will never forget. And I also loved that the kids learned so much about history and science and flora and fauna without ever realizing that they were learning, because they're doing it in this incredible environment on vacation that was so fun and engaging. So
That's to
that's what
learn.
Bridges is all about, is itineraries that are crafted to engage the generations. And we typically recommend that they're about 7 years of age. We will take them younger on a case-by-case basis, but these are definitely itineraries designed to engage all the generations, from grandparents and great-grandparents all the way down to the grandkids.
Gosh, these land journeys look amazing. And I know that my clients have ranted and raved about the Canyonlands one that they went on, and they loved that exclusive experience, by the way, that yacht cruise around Lake Powell. So that was
Yes.
a big hit. But I know you also have cruising options. So can you tell us a little more about that?
Yes, I would love to. Thanks. And you know, it's when you hear about Tauck, and for people that know Tauck, or their parents travel with Tauck, or their grandparents travel with Tauck, they truly do think of us just as a land company, but we have been doing cruising for quite a long time. One of the differences is we don't own the vessels. So Tauck doesn't really own anything, which puts us in a very strong, again, debt-free financial situation. But what we have done is we have handpicked some of the best cruise companies out there that deliver what's most important to us, is the best opportunity to experience the destination by water. So we have river cruising and we have small ship cruising. So with river cruising, we have been doing this for quite a number of years, and our river cruises are continually receiving awards and accolades, and we are so grateful for those that continue to travel with us on the riverways of Europe. So just to give you sort of a big picture of where we can take you on the rivers of Europe, you can go all the way from Amsterdam in the Netherlands all the way down to Romania and Bucharest and the Black Sea and virtually everything in between. We also do river cruising in France as well, and even an itinerary that includes some time in Italy, and then travel over to Switzerland, where you then board your riverboat and sail north to Amsterdam. So lots of wonderful array of itineraries from 8 days to 22 days.
Wow.
And one of our most popular river cruises ever since our inception of offering Tauck River cruising is called the Blue Danube. It goes from Prague in the Czech Republic to Budapest, Hungary. And I just thought I'd share some of the quotes that our clients have said about this particular river cruise. It was very pleasant and easy moving between cities. One of the things that people love about river cruising is you get on board your magnificent vessel, which is your floating hotel, and you unpack once and you live out of that beautiful stateroom, and it just affords you the opportunity and the access to those charming towns and villages and those coveted cities at the often the beginning and ends and sometimes in the middle of the trips. Of all our Tauck tours, this one may have been the most harmonious and efficient. I love those two words because that's what we love, is to be efficient and to have harmony. And overall, a wonderful trip. Budapest, a pleasant surprise, and Bratislava, a delight. So just to let you hear from some of our clients and what they thought about this trip. One of the benefits of Tauck River cruising is that we truly don't want anything to ever take you out of the moment. We want you to soak it all in, learn as much as you can, enjoy everything that you can. And the only way to do that is by making it truly all inclusive. So as you see here, from your shore experiences to the hotels before and after, your dining not only on the vessel, but off the ship as well, your transfers, gratuities, you name it. It's all in that one upfront price. So all you have to do is just show up, sit back, relax, and have a great time. There's nothing better.
It's easy.
It's easy. That's exactly right. And so here's just one of our fleet of 9 vessels that we have covering the waterways of Europe. This is the MS Grace. Now, this vessel carries 130 passengers, and that is at maximum capacity. So we also have fewer passengers on our boats than some of the other river cruise companies out there, which is also a welcome experience. And just a little inside tour to show you our lobby and our lounge and our beautiful restaurant, again, where you will just feel like this is your home away from home for a week or 2 weeks while traveling. And this is our newest baby. This vessel was actually built to set sail for the first time this spring. Obviously, we haven't been able to sail with her yet, but she is going to be sailing on the Douro River in Portugal. And this was a brand new addition for Tauck to be cruising on the Douro. We had started talking about it all the way back in 2018 and opened it for sale in 2019, and it was sold out for 2020. And now even 2021 is selling incredibly well because now we're moving some people from this year to next year. But this is an 84 passenger vessel. That is the maximum number of people on this boat. And she is just spectacular from beginning to end. This is just a quick snapshot of the top deck, and that is actually a restaurant there and an outdoor bar and the lovely seating so that you can take in the 360-degree view of the beautiful Douro Valley, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site in and of itself. And when it gets a little warm after you've enjoyed your lunch and your glass of Portuguese wine, you can go for a lovely little dip in that swimming pool and continue to drink more wine and enjoy those magical views.
Love
Now,
it.
beyond river cruising, Tauck also partners with 4 small ship cruise lines, with yacht and expedition vessels that carry no more than 260 guests. So this isn't like some cruising that is out there in the industry. We're very focused on the small being big. So those small ships that can get you to those ports of call that are hard to reach in other capacities. And this is, again, just sort of an overview of the many places across the globe that we can take travelers. You know, some very incredibly popular cruises are the Galapagos and Antarctica, if you want that seventh continent to be checked off your bucket list, which I know I do. And even domestically, we have inside passage cruises in Alaska. And then we even have an incredible Great Lakes cruise where you get to sail on that yacht that you see there in the picture. And it goes from Chicago to Toronto, and you sail 4 of the 5 Great Lakes. So if you're looking to cruise, but maybe looking to stay a little bit closer to home, we have that wonderful itinerary in Iceland, Japan, and all over Europe. So the smallest vessel is our 40 passenger vessel in the Galapagos. And like I said, the largest vessel carries just 260 guests. So it's a very intimate cruising experience, giving you that unforgettable cruise experience, but with a lot fewer people. This is just one of the magnificent partners that we work with by the name of Penant. And so with that, I
So
hope that's
fun.
been a good overview. And really all I want to say is that we will be here when you are ready to go. And Stefany, it's been a pleasure bringing this to you and your clients. And we are so grateful to you, our travel partners, for all that you do to educate and service your clients and give them the opportunity to experience the world.
Well, and thank you. Thank you for your time. And thank you for taking us on this wonderful travel dreaming session with Tao. Great presentation. And I know we're both looking forward to when our clients are ready to travel again. So I look forward to working with you, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much. And we look forward to being out and traveling with you all real soon.
Yes,
Stay
we
well.
do. Bye.
Thank you.